Hi guys, Rich Bassini from rjbassini.com. Come to you to just do a little brief insight on sourcing again. I think I did this once before, and I just wanted to share something with you guys. Um, I don't know. I've been hearing a lot on these YouTube channels that a lot of other sellers will tell you to go out and do a lot of sourcing, and you got to keep buying and buying and buying, and I understand everybody has different strategies to this business to making it work. But you got to understand something too. People have to understand something, that if you have more inventory sitting on eBay or Amazon, whatever platform you're selling on, and it's not moving, sourcing for more items is not going to be the answer to your solution to making this business work. And I think that's the problem people are experiencing when they say, "Oh, I'm going, it's slow," or "I have sales that have been, my sales been down." They blame the month, they blame the time of the year, the season. I understand that, and something, it's true in most cases. Um, it is. It has a lot to do. Weather has a lot to do with it. The retail, the malls. When it's snowing, when you have a snowstorm, who's going to go in the malls? I'm not. I'm not going to travel in a foot of snow, especially living in New York when we have our storms. The last thing I'm thinking about is going to a mall. I do still like to go to malls, even though I buy a lot on, I don't buy a lot on eBay, but when I do buy, if I was to buy, I would prefer to buy online as opposed to going to the malls, because the malls, by me, are very congested. They have people from different parts of the state coming in, or towns, I should say, coming in, and it doesn't make it shopping in a mall very pleasurable. But when I keep hearing people talk about other sellers saying, you got to work hard at this business. It's a business that it takes a lot of time and devotion. I understand that. All right, now I'm doing this full time, going on 7 months, 8 months now, and I think I mentioned this to you guys once before. I told you a story that I had lost my job in the past, or last year, and that's what kind of like catapulted me into doing this full time. You do hear stories where people do lose their jobs, either the layoffs, or maybe they got injured or something like that, or a disability put them in here, in this situation, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. And I understand there's a lot of people out there have their own methods of running a business, and some people say business is based on common sense, which it is. Business is based on common sense, just like carpentry, it's the same thing. If you know how to read a ruler and you know how to measure and stuff like that, you can build certain things. You can't be an architect because you got to go to college for that. But for the most part, you could do carpentry, basic carpentry. I know I can. I can do basic carpentry and basic electric and stuff. I'm not an electrician. It doesn't make me an electrician or a carpenter. But we can do our businesses, to the best of our abilities, and to try to make it work. Everyone's got a plan. Everybody's got an idea of how to make it work. And when I listen to these sellers on YouTube and stuff like that, and sometimes you get good advice from them. And I'm not knocking them, I'm not putting them down at all. I mean, people could be watching this video and saying, "Well, you're not giving any good advice either." I'm not. I'm not talking about me right now. I'm just trying to bring a point out that there are, people out there telling you, in order to make this business work, you got to source, you got to source, you got to go out. And I think I did a video once before about this here. And the thing is, folks, my thing is get rid of the merchandise that you have now, get rid of it, and then replenish. I mean, and something else, folks, and I see this by a lot, done with a lot of resellers. They have this thing, and it's nothing wrong with it. I have no qualms with it. If you want to, throw it out there, that's your business. But a lot of people will tell you the things they pick up at thrift stores, what they pay for it, and what they sold for. I think it's Lee Iacocca that wrote that. He made that quote or whatever, that's saying, "Lead, not follow." I think lead or get behind me, something like that. He said some kind of quote he made. Like a lot of these entrepreneurs always have these sayings and stuff. And the thing is, if you're going to follow a company, like let's say for example Walmart, and I know I'm just throwing it out there, and people may say, well, what does this have to do with reselling? But if you look at Walmart, you're not going to get general manager coming up on doing a YouTube and telling you what they buy from their manufacturers and what they're selling it for. You know, I think right now that's kind of irrelevant to get into that type of situation where you got to tell people the things you buy and how much you're buying it for and what you're selling it for. You know, I think it's all basic common sense. I mean, if a person's going to a thrift store, I'll give you an example. The thrift store I go to around my area, I see older people there, young and old, and they're picking stuff up. They're doing their research. You know, they're looking at their iPhones or whatever, their cell phones, and they're going there. They're picking things up. I see it all the time. They're picking up the items and they're looking at it. They're checking out because you can't miss it. You're walking by there and you see they're on eBay. You know, and they're holding the object and looking at it, and you get they got the item there on eBay right there, and they're doing their own research. That's why me personally, I won't go to those extremes to tell you, well, I picked up this item here for $1 and I sold it for 10. I picked this shirt up, I sold it for 20. Whatever. I don't go telling people what I buy and what I sell. I think I mentioned this once before in one of my other videos that somebody had did something like that, said something like that to the effect, we're doing a video, and somebody commented on their YouTube channel, I'm sorry folks, somebody commented on the YouTube channel, and they said something like, how dare you buy something for $5 and you sell it for $20 or $30, how dare you, that's, how could you do something like that to people? And I'm not taking the side of the seller, and I'm not taking the side of the person who made the comment, but this is what happens. And, when you start telling people, I picked this thing up for $5 and I sold it for 15 or 20, there are people out there that are hitting your channels. And, they're looking at this stuff and they're listening, saying, wow, could you imagine that? This guy bought this and look how much he's charging me or whatever. After later on they find out, especially if they're the ones that bought from you in the past. I don't believe in doing that there. I'm not saying it's wrong, and I know there are people going to always do that there. Just like people share their incomes, people put spreadsheets up and say, "Well, this is what I made. This is my profit." I don't think I have to get into it. Get into that detail when it comes to the business role, the business model. I don't think that's necessary. I like to, as far as a reseller doing this here, I have my own way of doing it. I want to have a different, I have a different set of values the way I run this, the way I run my particular business on here. I share what I know. There's certain things I don't have all the answers for. If I can't find out if I don't have the answers, I'll find out and I'll get back to you, depending on who's leaving a comment. If there is anybody leaving a comment on a particular topic, but for the most part, folks, I hear this all the time, and again, I'm not knocking the resellers that do it, but when they keep telling you go out and resource, you got to buy every day, you got to keep listening every day. I told you earlier, sales have been very slow for me. If you're making $20 or $30 or $40 or $50 for the day, and that's all you have coming in, you better hope you have something else by the end of the week. If it's a Monday and you only made $30 for the day, you only sold a couple items, you better hope you have something coming in that's going to offset that, because maybe if you can make a couple $100, or maybe if you can make, I don't know, $100 for the day, I don't know. You got to work what's comfortable for you. But that's the thing. When I hear people keep saying it all the time, you got to go out and source. If you keep sourcing for more merchandise or more items, and the stuff that you already have on eBay is not moving, you're having money tied up. You're not accomplishing anything. All you do is just impacting the inventory you have already. And if people can understand, we all, like I said, we all come from different walks of life. I can't afford to do that. Okay, now let's say with all the items I have listed, it comes to $3,000 or $4,000. I'm just throwing a number out there, folks. And at the end of the month, you're not selling all that merchandise to acquire that kind of money. What do you do? What do you do then? What do you do? Do you beg, borrow, and steal? Do you borrow from a relative or a good friend and say, listen, I'm short this week. eBay, I didn't make enough money. I thought I was going to break even, or I thought I was going to make enough money to cover my mortgage, cover my rent, to cover my car payment. You know, it's easy for people that are in different circumstances to say things like that, tell you. And again, like I said, I talked about this once before. The people that do this full time, do they have somebody working? Is there another source of income coming in? Okay, and if it is, then sure, you could, glory days are here. You could go out, you could buy stuff every day if you have the room to facilitate it, to keep it there. If you have the extra money to do it, that's fine. But when you get these resellers telling other people, you got to go out and buy every day, you got to keep buying every day, you got to list every day, list every day, list every day. I understand the ratio. The more you have listed on there, the more. But the thing is, sometimes it doesn't always work out. It doesn't pan out the way you think. If you got yay much of inventory out there, and you have very little sales, what do you got going on here in between? It doesn't, to me, the numbers don't add up. And if someone's saying, well, you gotta try to buy $1,000 worth of merchandise or whatever, and or suppose you can't afford the $1,000. Some people might say, well, then you shouldn't be in the business. But there are people out there that want to do this for a living, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it can work out. I think it can work for most people, for some, for most of the time. But that's why you always hear people always talk about different strategies and different ideas and different things to do. Sell this and try sourcing for that, and see what and the other thing is, see what you have that's not selling, and maybe you might want to change the category, or maybe you might want to get rid of that item, donate it, so you bought it and now you're donating it. So that's a loss of revenue right there, and that's why I try to say, when people sit there and tell you on these YouTube channels of resellers, you got to go out and resource, keep buying every day, selling every day, trying to sell, buy. And if it's not selling, it's not moving, it's not doing you any good. Like I said, I threw that number out there. If I have $4,000 worth of merchandise sitting there, unless it sells, I don't have that money. That money's not readily there for me. Okay? And, people might wonder, why do I keep making these videos every now and then about sourcing stuff? Because I keep hearing the same things over and over again from different resellers. You got to go out and source, you got to go out and buy every day. And, after a while, it's like a broken record. And then they come out, and then people will try to tell you different strategies. Well, try this, or try going to a different platform. I said it myself. I said it with Bonanza. I think I said in one of my videos. I don't know if I put it out there yet, or if I didn't. For Bonanza this week, mind you, Monday through Friday, maybe 4 items I sold. Nothing to write home about. Nothing to write home about. What I sold those 4 items for, I don't even think it's enough to pay a credit card bill. Seriously, and I'm not saying this to be funny, but that's how it is. And people will say, well, May is a time of the month, whatever. Well, now we're in June. It's a slow month or whatever. Our sales are slow. I've been hearing it even like on my Facebook group too. Sales have been slow, but if it's then again, you get some members on there saying, "Oh, my sales went through the roof. I did this, and I sold $1,500 this week worth of merchandise. I sold $2,500. That's great." I don't know. Maybe the items I have are very bland, or then the other thing is say, "Oh, you got to get things that are in demand." The problem is, folks, what's in demand, what you're gonna buy in demand, everybody else has it. That's the problem. There could be hundreds and thousands of people selling the same type of merchandise that you have. And, unless you're getting it for phenomenal low prices, like some people say, well, you go to Goodwill, you can get this for 15 cents, 25 cents. I bought this, I bought that. Yeah, that's great. Now, the thrift store I go to, there is a Goodwill by me. I haven't been there in a while. It's good. It's a nice store. I think Goodwill's a little pricey with certain things in my area, but I don't, unless, like I said again, unless you're getting the items really super cheap. When I'm buying a printer, I'm not getting them dirt cheap. Okay, and just to share that with you, I'm getting a printer. I'm not getting a dirt cheap printer. When I buy a printer, it costs me a decent amount of money, and when I try to sell them I try to make a profit off it. I have to make a profit. I like to make a decent profit, and that's why sometimes I offer best offers, and sometimes on some of them I don't, because I know people out there, they're looking for a bargain, and sometimes you can't always offer a bargain. I can't always cut down, like some people say, can you give me free shipping? I had one person say they wanted to give me a low ball offer on a printer, and plus they wanted me to give free shipping. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be in this business long if I ran the whole model like that, the whole model business like that. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in business. There's no way to do it. It's just not financially sane to do it that way. But what I'm trying to say, folks, the reason why I'm also bringing this up is I listened on eBay Radio this week, and I think last week someone brought it up. They're talking about how eBay wants to get rid of stale, items that have been laying around for, I think, I don't know, over 100 days or close to a year, whatever. eBay wants to start messaging the sellers to basically revamp your merchandise, your item you're selling, or basically, in so many words, get rid of it. It's there. It's taking space up on their servers. So I see it happen with me. I look at the merchandise I have. I have stuff that's been sitting there since last year. And I'm just thinking of just donating it, but I'm not going to donate it to the thrift store I bought it, so I'll donate it to my church before I give it back to the thrift store to resell it again. I'm not going to let them make a double profit off it. I'd rather give it to my church and let them keep it and use the money to fix the church up or whatever. But I'm not going to give it back to the resellers. I'm not going to do that. The thrift stores, so they can resell it again, same thing, and get the same amount of money again. That's not going to happen. But all I'm saying, folks, and for people that are newbies coming into this here, you probably heard this from other people too, other sellers, but this is the way I look at it. Before you take that plunge, and I know a lot of people some people hate their jobs, they despise them, they despise the people they work with. They don't want to be there because they don't like the work. They feel maybe it's a dead-end job, or it's a job that's going nowhere. You're going nowhere in that company. And some people want to quit and just go full force with it. That's all fine and Jim dandy, but the thing is, though, folks, it's risky and it's taking a big plunge. Again, when you, like my situation, when I got laid off, they offered a severance package, and it'll help you get along for a while, but eventually that severance money is going to run out, and if you're not making the money to substantiate a lifestyle, you're going to be sweating bullets every month. And that's why I try to say I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell it like it is. I know sometimes you say, people might think, well, you contradict. Like I tell people not to source too much. Go out and source every day. I went to the thrift store last week, or maybe some earlier this week, whatever, and I picked up a couple items. Okay, now people that are following me, if they do follow me on this YouTube channel, they might say, well, you sound like you're contradicting yourself. No, I'll pick up maybe one or two. But I hear people saying, they pick up a lot of items. Like it sounds like to me, for some of the ones I heard, almost like on a daily basis. You go out I can't do it on a daily basis. The money is if more money is going out than it's coming in, how can I keep resourcing? And that's what I'm trying to say, folks. With the items you have now listed, do yourself a favor. Do your due diligence, your research on it. If you're selling, I don't know, let's say a camera, a Sony camera, whatever, and you had it on there and you thought you put it in the right category, just check it out. Look what other people are doing. Type in, for example, like with me, like if I'm selling my Sony camera, I'll type in Sony cameras on eBay, do a search, and look at all the listings that come up with it. And then what I do is I look for the ones that have watches. And the ones that have watches, I will click them on. And the first thing I do is I have two windows set up. I have mine with my listing, and then I have the other one, the other listing on there with the one with the watches, where mine don't have watches, theirs does. And the first thing I do is look the category. And if their category is different from mine, I'm going to copy their category. I'm going to change my category and say, use the one they're using, because they got 4 watches and I got 0. And then if it's the same exact camera, Maybe you could drop it down a dollar or two, whatever. Depends again what you got it for. Now, if you went to a thrift store and you got that same camera that they're selling for, maybe that the other person selling, the other sells selling it for $30, and you got yours, you picked yours up at a thrift store, it just happened to be a half off sale, and you got it for $5. That's great. Okay, you could probably put yours for $19.99, or you could put it for $20. You maybe could put it for $25 or $24.99, something along that range, price range. Yes, you're undercutting the other seller, of course. But again, and the other thing to check out too is what the person's got the watches. Are they offering free shipping? I don't offer free shipping on certain things like that. Again, certain things I do, certain things I don't. Okay. I had a thing, I think recently, I don't know if I mentioned it in my other video, but I had a thing where a person bought one of those Rock Band guitars, and I sold quite a few of those. And the buyer, when I looked at it, I said, oh, wow, I made a sale. I'm looking at the little bell there, the little reminder bell. And I looked at it, and I said, oh, my gosh. Because the guitar's being sold for $19.99. And the shipping was, I think, $15 or something like that. I said, wow. I said, there's no way I could do it. 15 from 19, then the eBay fees, the PayPal fees. I'm making nothing on it. Literally, it's a wash. It's a given. It's a freebie. I had to email the buyer, contact the buyer again through eBay, and I told the buyer, I said, I can't sell this to you. I said there was an error in the listing. Shipping was supposed to be not included in this here. Free shipping was not included in here. You have to pay for shipping. I messaged the buyer. The buyer said, what's it going to cost? And I took a little snippet, and I showed him, excuse me, what the cost was going to cost that buyer to get that guitar. And the buyer was very adamant about it. It's okay, that's no problem. I still want the item. I still want the guitar. They paid, it was $15. It was $15 and change. They paid for it. But, what am I going to do? I can't, we made an error. I made an error on my part. And I think that was because I used the sell now feature. When you go in and you look up, like I was looking up guitars, and when you go to sell now, and you say it says have one to sell, and you click it on eBay, I'm talking about, and you get their template. You get basically what you're doing. The way I look at it, I could be wrong. You're using another seller's template to sell your item, and depending how they have their set up, their description, they may have had clicked on there free shipping, or what's the other thing? Sell international, which I don't do. And a couple of times I got snagged like that, where I was selling stuff, and I'm looking, it's like I'm getting stuff from Germany, or somebody from Germany. Oh yeah, what are you selling this here for? How much would it cost in Germany? I said, Germany. I said, wait a minute. I don't sell international. I messaged the buyer back. I said, I don't sell international. I said, I'm sorry, I don't sell international. Okay, I'm sorry. I said, it was an error in the listing. And then I went back there and looked and said, oh my gosh, it says sell international. I don't sell international on any of my stuff. And if you do see it there, folks, if you come across and you see it there, it's done by error. I do not sell international. I don't care to sell international. No offense to people that do. I don't sell international. But, you come across those type of scenarios like that. And the point I'm leading back to with the other thing with the sourcing, or talking about if you have merchandise that's sitting around, that's probably, I think, why eBay wants to get rid of it, because it's just taking space up. It's been around. I hear people sometimes saying, like, even like on eBay, where they're talking, one guy will say, well, I had something laying around since last year on Amazon. Another guy said, I had to see it for 6 months on eBay. Another guy was just on eBay Radio. I think he had something on it for like almost a year and a half, whatever. I don't want to keep stuff that long. And that's what's happening. It's protracting into it. And to be honest with you, it's tying your money up. And that's why, like I'm saying, folks, not putting anybody down. And please don't take it the wrong way if other sellers come across this here. I'm not saying it in a bad way or making any derogatory remarks. Honest, I'm just throwing it out there. But this is my personal opinion, and I'm telling you myself as a top rate seller, to the newbies coming into this line of work, do your research. Don't quit your day job just yet. Work things out on pen and paper, and see what happens. See if it's going to work for you, because a lot of people might go into this thinking they're going into full force, and they're looking at all the numbers out there. I do 5,000 a month. I do 10,000 a month. There's a guy that does 50,000. Listen, if there are people making that kind of money every month, kudos to you, you know. But the thing is, when you hear people saying things like that, you always got to say, how? Is it really that possible to it? And if you're a one-man band, if you're selling that ton, if you got sales like that, you must have heavy duty inventory, and you probably have a small little warehouse you're working out of, unless you're sourcing or doing drop shipping for a company. Okay. And now I'm not saying that's impossible. Maybe that's how these guys are doing it. Maybe you find out the guys that are doing 10,000, 30,000, 40, 50,000 a month, they're maybe drop shipping. They're doing something. They got other businesses that are how can you say they're integrating with their total gross income. But you can't let throw numbers out there. That's the problem. People throw numbers out there. Everything is numbers. Oh yeah, I did 5,000. I did 10,000. I did 20,000. Next you're gonna hear a guy saying. Next thing you're gonna hear is there's somebody that does $1 million a month. Or I'm not $1 million a month, 100,000 a month, or whatever. Look, I'm not saying it's impossible. There's a company I could tell you right now. If you type it in, if you do a Google search on it, the company was called Glacier Bay DVD. And I might have mentioned this once before. The guy sold DVDs, and his business was bringing over $10 million a year on eBay. It was him and another partner, and I remember the picture. They took a photo shoot, and they were sitting there with all these DVDs, movies and stuff like that. I don't remember why they're not on eBay anymore. I don't think there are, as far as I know. I think they had some kind of legality issue, so something was going wrong. I don't know. I don't think they're on anymore. I never really bothered to look them up. But if you type in Glacier Bay DVD or something like that, I think it's Glacier Bay DVD, something like that. And you could read the story up on them. But as far as my memory serves me right, I think they were doing $10 million a year on eBay. But they show you them sitting there with a whole bunch of, the picture I seen was two guys, and it was sitting with a bunch of DVDs. Now, they must have had workers with them. They must have had, a warehouse where they stored all this, because they must have been selling large volumes of DVDs. And that's the only one I know of that, I heard of making that kind of money. Because it's in the book there, the eBay Millionaires. I think they're one of them. I think they were titanium seller. I think there's platinum, titanium. I'm not sure which one's the highest one. I think that's what they were one of them. They were titanium or platinum seller. And to get that star, that shooting star, I think with one of them you have to do $150,000 a month, something like that. If you read the book, the eBay Millionaire, I think, because I have a copy of the book, but it'll tell you how much money you got to make to maintain that shooting star level. There is another company on eBay that's right now has over 4 million subscribers and over 4 million. They sold over 4 million items, and that's called E4 City. And if you look them up, you can see them. They're still on eBay. They're still active. They're still out there. And the guy, I think his name is Jack Sheng, I think it's like that, who still runs the business. They have, I think it's 44,000 plus listings. But he must have a big operation. Now, he's got to be up there. And for what I was told by an eBay affiliate, that because he's got all that feedback, over 4 million plus feedback, eBay has a conference room or something set up just for that person, for his company, whatever. That's what I was told. And person wrote there, no kidding, he's got a room, or they got a room or an office for him, or whatever it is, a conference room. eBay has it, I guess, in their California office, set up for this guy. So sure, he must be bringing in mega money. Okay, now if a guy like that was telling me he's doing 200, 300,000 a month or whatever, I would believe it. Okay, because that's 44 plus thousand items he's got listed on eBay. Look him up. You can see for yourself. I don't know. I'm not saying he disclosed how much he's making. I'm sure there's probably a way to find out how much his company makes. But it's called E4 City. And you can look him up on eBay, and you'll see what I'm talking about. He's got I think over 4 million feedbacks, and that's how many. Well, that's how many items he sold too. But he's probably an exception to the rule. So if somebody like that gets on a YouTube channel and he tells you, "Hi, I'm Jack, whatever, Jack Cheng, whatever his name is, I think, something like that," and tells you, he wants to get into his, financial history about how much his company makes, that might be somebody you might worth listening to. I'm not saying all the other people on eBay, not myself. It's like, country so knows I'm not worth listening to. No, I'm just saying, as far as a successful entrepreneur that's making mega money on eBay, he's the type of guy you might want to listen to and get advice from him and see. But again, it's all the same thing. It all boils down to the same thing, though. It's sales. That's all it is. eBay. I don't like sales jobs. I never had a salesman's job. I was always in a corporate office and stuff like that. I never had a salesman job. I never got on the phone and sold. But when you think about it, folks, the thing that I least don't like is what I'm doing. This is sales. eBay is sales. When you sell something, you're making money. That's it. So basically, we're all salesmen. We're all salesmen and women. We're out there making it. Trying to sell stuff to you. I got something to sell you. We're all salesmen. That's what this whole business is based on. Any business is based on sales. I mean, basically, it is. But with eBay, we're all individual, salespeople. And I'm just trying to. The thing I'm trying to get out there, folks, is, just take take a little time. Put the whole, keep the reins, the horse reins tight to you, and don't start galloping into something right away and saying, well, I heard this story from so and so. This guy's doing this one's doing that. They probably have a long presence on eBay. They're probably well established. They've probably been there. I mean, I've been on eBay since 1999, but I said in many of my other videos, I've been doing it on and off. It wasn't a serious thing for me. I did it just to get rid of merchandise, things I had laying around the house. Again, when you're having a family, you're raising a family, you got kids involved, you got a house, mortgage, you got to take care of things, you got bills, stuff. If you have a stressful job, you're not going to come home, like I always say, you're not going to come home and say, hey, I want to go on eBay. I got to sell some stuff on eBay. If I was maybe driven like that, back in 1999, when I was, feeling the water, so to speak, I would have probably been better. I would have probably been better off. I would probably have better sales. I would have probably had more feedbacks than what I have. And but again, it was an on and off thing. That's why I have low feedback. But technically, I said this once before. eBay keeps a tally, even though the people, the buyers don't leave feedbacks. They keep a tally of what you actually sold. And mine's like around close to 1,500. Not that it makes a difference. I'm just trying to say. So when you're seeing my 918 feedbacks from people, that's because buyers don't leave feedbacks, unfortunately. I mean, those 918 people did, but the other people, so the other so many 400, 500, 600, whatever it is, didn't bother to leave it to me. So that's why I have only 918 feedbacks. But it's really about 1,500. But that just goes to show you how many people weren't leaving feedbacks. Okay, now I said with my thing now, when I get someone buys something from me, I leave a feedback for the buyer. But again, my feedback is, and it states as is, thank you for shopping with rjpacini.com. Satisfaction guaranteed. That's my feedback, my positive feedback to the buyer. And if people think it's not fair, they say, well, you should supposed to leave a positive. That is a positive feedback. I didn't say anything negative. I didn't say to the buyer, oh, I didn't think too highly of the way you conducted business or anything like that. I'm not doing anything bad. All I said was thank you for shopping at rjpacini.com. Satisfaction guaranteed. That's all. If you came in my store, if I had a brick and mortar store and you came into my store and you bought something, if it was a clothing or whatever it is, I'm going to say thank you very much for shopping with me. And if you want to give me a feedback and say, well, you got a nice store here, or I like the way I like your business, place of business, fine. That's a compliment. That's a positive feedback. But I'm not doing anything wrong. People may say, well, you're turning their feedback into your well, if you want to look at it that way, if a buyer's not going to leave me a positive feedback, the way I'm looking at it is if other buyers look at their feedbacks, because they're sellers, right, and they come across mine, they're going to say, oh, thank you for shopping at RJ Pacini. They're going to say, oh, There must be this. Let me see what this company's all about. I don't know. I don't think I'm doing anything wrong. That's just the way I look at it, And that's how I do it. Because even on my Facebook group, I've been hearing things. Oh, I'm selling stuff, and buyers ain't leaving feedbacks. How would you handle this? So if they left the feedback, it was like a neutral. I don't always answer to him. There was one time I think I did make a reply. I just said, just like I'm telling you guys, that's what I do. I just say, I leave them positive feedback. I just say, thank you for shopping at ABC company, whatever your company is, your business is. That's it. You might say, yeah, but you're not getting no positive feedback from them. It's okay. I haven't gotten that many now anyway. I haven't gotten that many anyway from a lot of them. Like I said, I should have at least 1,500 feedback, and you do the math. That's how many people didn't leave it to me. So, but I don't, that's here or there. I don't really care about the feedback as long as you're happy with the service I provide. If you're happy with it, I'm happy. That's all that matters. I'm not looking for kudos. I'm not looking for people to sit there and say, hey, man, that guy, he's good. When he sells stuff, he does this, that. He packages it, he wraps it in plastic, and he does all of this. I'm not looking for all of that. As long as you're happy with the service, you got the merchandise in one piece, not in pieces, as I always say. That's all that matters to me. That's what I'm concerned about. I place the buyer number one. Okay, just like they say, the customer's always right. If somebody's not happy with an item, send it back. I have one person we were going back and forth with this printer. The buyer keeps telling me, well, I cleaned the print head. I put new cartridges, did this, that, and the other thing, and it's still not printing. The last one I got was the other day. Can you send me a video, or can you point me into a direction, maybe a video on how to clean or the print heads or whatever? So I did my due diligence. I looked up one. I said, well, here. I sent it the link, the buyer, and I said, follow this. Hopefully it'll help you out. And I said, if it doesn't work, please send the printer back. I'll refund your money. Because this has been going on now. I got about maybe 3 or 4 emails from this person saying they can't get it to work. They can't get it to work. I did a demo on it. I got it to work. The only thing I told the people, and when I sell the printers, they're going to need ink cartridges, and when you have to sell them like that, when it needs an ink cartridge, 9 out of 10, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna print 100%. It's not gonna print. A lot of the printers, HP, the Brothers, the Epsons, you will only go so far when you're doing a demo. I don't always buy cartridges. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Now I have one there. I think it's a Brother printer. It's a nice one. I got it for $199 with best offer. I did a video on it if you want to look for yourself, and it shows you me getting the package. I got a package of brand new cartridges, installing them, putting them in, testing the printer out. What more can I do? I go through the trouble to not trouble. I go all out of my way to show you where to get the download the software. What operating system it's working on. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm doing the best I can to tell the buyers this is what I'm offering. It's working on my computer. I'm working with Windows 10. It's working. I show you where to download the driver software. That's what I had to do to make it work here. And I told them, I said, I downloaded the software to make the printer work. Oh, I get the printer, don't work. Did you watch the video? One buyer said, oh, I didn't even watch the video. I said, all the information's right there. I said, if you would have watched the video, you would have seen everything. So, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Matter of fact, on eBay Radio, I'm not going to mention the name, but one of the commentators always states that, goes on a rant about buyers not reading the descriptions. And, when buyers make these things, the sellers, they make a big thing. People are not, and then the person goes on a rant. People are not going to read the description. So, folks, don't put all that wordy information there, this, that, and the other thing. You hear that every now and then from this commentator on eBay Radio. I'm not mentioning who it is. But you hear it all the time, every now and then. And finally this week, I heard that somebody had wanted to get a miniature chair or something, some kind of miniature chair, a chair. And they thought it was going to be a full-size chair. I think it was a chair they were talking about. And it turned out to be miniaturized. So when they ordered it, and why? Because they didn't read the description. It was all there. I think it even had the size on it, I think 6 inches or whatever it was. The buyer, now it could have been an older person. Okay, it could have been an older person. Maybe a person that's not familiar with eBay, how to do it. Maybe they just seen the thing. Maybe they just seen the first thing there. Chair. I don't know what kind of chair it was, but it's on eBay Radio. I think this week, if you listen to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. They didn't read the description. And now, that person who talks about sellers putting wordy description there saying they will not read it, don't waste your time, is saying, well, the reason why that person got the wrong item is because they didn't read the description. So that person, is now changing up the tune on as far as hey, 1 minute you're saying this, and you gotta read the description when you're buying stuff. It's as simple as all that. And a lot of people don't take the initiative to do that. And I can tell you, I had about at least 3 or 4 instances where people were buying stuff from me and they weren't reading the description, saying, and then what they do is, how they get around it, how they get their money back, even though it's on their error, all they say is not as described. Not as described. And in most cases, you as the seller, you're going to end up paying for their return shipping prices. And that's unfair, and I'll tell you why it's unfair. Because in my listings, and I'm sure a lot of other sellers do it, I say buyer pays for return shipping. But all the little word is that little clause in there. All the buyer's got to say is not as described. But you know what? You could refute it. You could rebuttal it with eBay. And sometimes eBay will work with you. And I know this for a fact because they've done it with me. I think I did a video about it. It says eBay works with the seller or something like that. You'll see I did enough of videos, well, certain things, but you'll see what I'm talking if you look at my other videos. And eBay did work with me, and they said I was in the right. Because they said, the buyer said, it's missing manuals, it's missing a printer cable and all that stuff. And then in eBay, it was all there. I told them, I said I received the package today, and I put in the description, please note there is no user manuals, original packaging or user manual or software included with this printer. eBay looked at it, they researched it, and they said, no, you're on the right. And that's why I did that video. I was so elated because eBay stuck by me at that point. And there was another time where I got dogged, and I did a video about eBay not working with me because I took pictures of it. I sent the printer out to the buyer, packed up, well shipped, everything well packed. Got to the buyer. Oh, I can't get it to work. Defective. That's the other word, folks. Defective. They put defective in there. Lock, stock, and barrel. Not as described, defective. Person ended up sending it back to me. Broken. Right? The LED faceplate came off. Hanging there by wires. I called up eBay. I opened the case. Explained to them what happened, how I received the printer. I took pictures. I showed eBay. Did a video on it. Person got the full amount. I didn't even get a chance to make a second acknowledgement to eBay. They rebutted with me. They got back. They said, "Dear R.J. Pacini, we're very sorry that you feel this way. That you felt that it was it was wrong that the way you got your items shipped back to you. But eBay had paid the thing there, and you had to pay the return shipping. That was wrong. Okay." Because when you're getting something and you're sending something out in perfect condition, which it was, perfect working condition, and then it comes back to you broken, that's not fair. And just to let you know, to give the newbies a heads up, from a seller, I'm not saying I'm an experienced seller, but I'm experienced enough to know what's right and wrong and what to do and how to handle the type of business, because I heard other stories. When you're selling certain items, be it watches or be it jewelry, whatever it may be, make sure, folks, that you send it with signature delivery confirmation. And you might say, well, what's that? Believe me, it's worth the $2 or whatever it is additional to, you put that service in there. Only reason why I say that is because if a buyer claims they didn't receive it, somebody had to sign for that. Now, if they have their neighbor sign for it, or a friend or a relative, you should be in the clear. You shouldn't have any problem with it. In other words, eBay should be on your side because, first off, if you're selling something to a specific person of that household, all right, now if you're selling it and it's a son or a daughter that, and let's say the father ordered it and he's working 9 to 5 and the son or daughter's home and it comes there and it's signed by the same people with the same last name, or if it's a married situation, whatever, in that household, they're liable for it. That should be good. But if it's somebody else out of the area or whatever, let's say you say, well, I'm going to have my neighbor sign for it. First off, I don't think the post office is going to deliver it anyway. I don't think they would go that route. My understanding, I don't think the post office is allowed to do that there. They won't take it. If they do, it's news to me. If they go into a house where they're selling your house and you're not home and you have something that has to have a signature on there, as far as I know, the post office will not take it to a neighbor and say, would you want to sign for your neighbor's package? If they do, I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the right way to go about business. I don't think they do that, to be honest with you. Okay? But when you're selling jewelry, watches, expensive stuff, a couple $100 and over, even under. I sold watches, $50, $60, whatever it was. I put in a description right there. I'm offering. This is going to be signature delivery is going to be required with this, because I said it in the description. I want to make sure that it's getting to the right person. Okay. In other words, you're getting that watch, and let me tell you something else. This also should give the buyer a little insight, a little heads up, that if you get any ideas of getting an item and saying I never received it, they're going to think twice about it. Okay, especially when it comes to things like that. So you gotta be a little aware. You gotta be a little street smart with that, streetwise when it comes to things like that. If you're selling jewelry or certain things that are of great value to you, laptops, computers that are hundreds of dollars, or depending on what you're selling for, even items, even small items, especially the small items, especially jewelry or watch. When they come in a little box, right? Unless you're gonna put it in a big box, but they come in little boxes. Send it with signature delivery confirmation. It's worth the $2 included in the charge. Included in the charge. Put it as handling cost. Because this way when they get that little box, that little watch or jewelry or whatever it is, a trinket, someone's going to sign for it. Someone's going to sign for it. And if the wrong person signed for it in the household, if it's like a dorm room where you got different people living in and somebody signs for it, I still believe you're in the clear because it got to that destination. And if they had somebody else sign for it, I think the way eBay would work with that, it would work with you on that, because I think you would be in the right. But that's what I do, folks. When I sell stuff, electronics, especially, I'm talking about high-end electronics, not like printers where it's like $20, $30, but for the most part, if you're going to sell stuff like that, add the signature delivery. Outside of, even though you're getting a delivery confirmation, add the signature delivery where they got to sign for it. That's all. You'll protect yourself that way. But like I said, think about what you're doing, folks. Like I said, it's I'm telling you firsthand. Okay, I'm being upfront and honest. I'm not going to sit there and tell you stories and say, well, this, that, and the other thing. Look, even if I was making mega money, I'm not going to sit there and say, well, this is how much I'm making, so much. I don't think that's really a necessary part of this. You're not when you're going to that person's YouTube channel, you're going there to get information, okay? And the last thing you need to do is have your head clouded up with, well, I made $5,000 this month, I made 10, I made 30,000. They're putting this in your head. And I'm not saying anything bad, but folks, really, think about it. Think about it, okay? What is it going to take to make that kind of money? And if it is, that's all gross. We know that, because when you cut out your expenditures, your PayPal fees, eBay fees, and then your cost to ship it, stuff like that, think about it. Okay? Seriously, think about it. You know what you want to get good advice to? You want good advice? I could share this with you. Well, it's not like it's a hidden secret. Watch your Shark Tank. Seriously. Today's Friday. I look forward to Fridays. When it's on, unless they have some other simulcast going on. But I watch Shark Tank religiously. And people say, well, what does that have to do? Those are people that have ideas and they're going there, they're looking for investors. Yeah, but you get ideas for those people. You get ideas how they're coming along, how they got to where they got, how they get there. When they're doing that for Shark Tank, they're applying for that there to get on that show, whatever that show to talk to these investors. They gotta go through paperwork and stuff like that. It's not like it's just like you pick up the phone and say, yeah, I got an idea, I got an invention, I want to come on there. I got a product, I want to talk to Mark Cuban and all those other people there. What do you call it? The O'Leary, what's his name there? The O'Leary, and you got Damon, John, whatever. It's not like that. You got to go through. It takes a long time to get in there. You get screened and stuff like that, and only so many people get to Shark Tank. But watch that show. I really recommend it. I mean, I'm on the East Coast. I think it comes on Channel 7 on the East Coast over here. Channel 7, I think I think it's either 8 or 9 o'clock Central Eastern time. Check it out and listen to them. Listen to what these guys have to say. Listen to what the people call. Listen to what they talk about. The shark people talk about. Barbara Corcoran and Lori Grenier. How they come back. Robert Herjavec, how they come back with the feedback and what they would do, how to handle it, and stuff like that. You get a lot of pointers from that, believe it or not, and it all interrelates. To be honest with you, I mean, you're trying to brand something, they're trying to brand something, they're trying to get something on the market, and you can learn a lot from that. I'm not a TV person. I don't watch much TV. The shows I like to watch is like documentaries. I like PBS. I like NBR, Nightly Business Report. I watch shows like that there. Because my background, like I said, when I was going to college, it was for retail business management. But, my background is IT, but I'm just trying to say I also went in the retailing sector of it too, as far as for college and for school. But I'm trying to say is, those type of people you can learn from. And, Mark Cuban, like when he talks about like how he came up, like he'll say, oh yeah, I remember, when I first started out, I was eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or whatever. And, they talk about how they struggle and strive to get to where they are. But perseverance, persistence, it all helped out for them, how they got to where they are today. But you can learn a lot from a show like that. And, I don't know if there are people that watch it or have any interest in a movie, a show like that. But I watch it religiously. When it's on, I watch it. And sometimes I take notes. And another thing too, folks, just to leave you with another thought. Another thing you might want to watch is Antique Roadshow. That's on Channel 21. I'm not sure if that goes on tonight at 8 o'clock. Because I think it works like 8 o'clock, and then I think from 8 to then 8. I think it's on for an hour. I think from 8. Don't quote me on it, but I think from 8 to 9. Then Shark Tank goes on, something like that. It's in that time schedule. But that's a good show. And another one that I watch, even to this day, on YouTube, Market Warriors. I'm telling you, you might say, yeah, well, they're dealing with antiques. Listen, it's the same thing, folks. We could have a Market Warriors show. I could have a Market Warriors show if I knew what the things are valued at. You could watch. They took it off. I don't know why PBS took it off. There was some kind of discrepancy, I think, with the television producers, whatever. Great show. I loved it. It was entertaining, but at the same time, you could learn from it. And that was like a show that was the same producers that did Antique Roadshow, I think, had something to do with Market Warriors. And there's, like you had with Market Warriors, I love it. I still watch it to this day. I watch it on YouTube. I watch all the segments. I think it was only on for so many seasons, and they dropped it from the network. So that's why you don't see it on there. But they got good, they got a lot of good people in there. John Bruno, Kevin Bruno. There's another guy, his name is John Bruno. And then you got Bob Richter, and you got Miller Gaffney, and I think that's another one, right? I think that's only the four of them, I guess. I guess that's only the four. There is a girl that usually comes in, they alternate. And you can learn from them because they all, I think it's John Bruno, he has an antique shop or something like that. He has a business where he does that there. So he knows pretty much about antiques and certain things like that. A lot of them all have experience in that line of work. And you might be saying, well, if I'm sourcing for stuff, I go to thrift store. You see stuff in thrift stores sometimes. The thrift store I go to, they keep all the good stuff behind the counters. And I don't blame them because people pick stuff up, they put it down, they pick it up. How many times I've seen broken things in there on the shelves? People drop them, break the ceramics, and they put it back on the shelves. It's a shame. But you can learn a lot from those shows too. Those are the ones I like to watch. That if you're looking for advice for somebody that's being upfront and honest with you, you want to get into this business and you want to learn about it. And another thing too is getting books on antiques. That's another way of doing it. Get a book. Let me see if I can get it over here without knocking down my green screen back here. Let me see. I'll show you what I'm talking about. I had to make a makeshift green screen, folks. Let's see here. I think I got this one here. I should have brought it out ahead of time, folks, but I didn't get. Might get the other books I want to show you too. If my green screen falls, I'm sorry, guys. I do that thing because I want to try to keep things in sync here. Anyway, you want advice from somebody that instead of throwing numbers out there and telling you what to source for and stuff, get a book like this. It's old, but get a book like this. Okay? It tells you the price, and they might say, yeah, but it's old, it's outdated. It doesn't matter. It gives you an idea what it's all about. Now you might say, well, suppose it's all right. Let's say we're looking at this glass here. It's worth. Let's say this glass is worth $400. What does it say? $300 to $400. And you say, well, yeah, back in 2007, that's what it was priced at. Look at the blue one right here. And you might say, well, yeah, but now it's only worth $150, $200. So what? So if you could pick this book up, if you could pick this glass up for, I don't know, $50, whatever, or whatever it depends, whatever it depends what they're selling it for, and you're selling it for $150, $200. Let's say you drop down $200. That's $200. They got pins in here, like brochures, whatever. See? You want advice? Yeah, it's stuff like this. Okay? This is what you want. This is the type of stuff you should be looking for. Don't let people tell you, you got to source for this, you got to source for that, you got to source for this, that, and the other thing. My father, God rest his soul, he told me years ago, whatever line of work you get in, try to get into a line of work, whatever you get into. Let's say you're into, I don't know, carpentry or whatever. Get a book on it. Read up on it. He was a stickler like that, my father. He's always telling me, get a book and read up on it. Whatever you take an interest in, read up on it. If you like computers, buy books on computers. Read about them. Learn about them. I know pretty much about computers because when I went for my A+ certification as a PC tech, I did a lot of reading on the computers. I knew how to build them inside and out. I mean, I might be a little rusty now because I've been out of it a little, but I could still do it. I mean, if you gave me all the components, I could build it, probably blindfolded. But when I went to school for it, I knew pretty much more than everybody else in there. Okay, I'm not bragging about myself, but only because I love it, and I still love computers. I still love the technology today. But you know what? Read. Get a book like this. Okay, skim through it. Go through it, even if it's an old one. It gives you an idea. You might be in a thrift store. How many times I've seen stuff like this in thrift stores? Things like this. They have them. Jewelry, things like that. Now, I'm not saying let's say this is what, 1,500 pages or whatever, 900 pages or whatever, 600 pages. You're not going to remember all of this. You're not going to remember all these dolls, unless you got a computerized brain. Okay? Another book I picked up, this one here was given to me. My sister gave this to me. This one I picked up at a thrift store. Now this I will tell you how much I paid for, because it doesn't make a difference to me one way or the other. This I paid $1.59 for, or $1.49. This book, back in the day, now I think it's in England, it's from England, whatever. It was $22 and change. Let me see if you can see it. Now how it ended up here, I don't know. Maybe they ordered from a catalog company. See the bottom over there? I think that's what what do you call it? The Britain, whatever, United Kingdom. That's the price. Now you might say, wow. Now I don't have the room to facilitate stuff like this. I can't buy furniture like that. I probably wouldn't have the money to buy it anyway, because to be honest with you, they tell you the price of these things. Some of the stuff here is expensive. Now this is what they tell you what it sells for. Like this one here, this one right up here. Oh, this one here, I think they got a price, what, $2,000? I can't see from here. It looks like $2,000 and change. Now that's what it sold for. That's what it's probably what it's worth. Now, if you came across something like that, I'm not trying to be funny, but if you came across something like this and you know your furniture and you did buy something like this and you put it up for auction, whatever, you go to an auction house, you could do something like that. Okay? But this book here, at first I picked it up when I was in the thrift store. I said, do I really want this book here? But it covers other things. It's just like this one here, but it's a little bigger. Coffee mugs, mugs. Look. Okay? Get one of these books. Collectibles. You're in this line of work. Read up on it. Study. This is the best advice I can give anybody, rather than sitting there hearing all these different stories of people going out and you got to buy this, you got to buy that, you got to buy this. I'm not putting anybody down, folks, but you know what? Read up on it. Study this stuff. You can say, well, I don't need to buy books. I just go online and do it. You can do what you want. Listen, I'm trying to give you the best advice I would do. Look, I wouldn't give you any advice that I wouldn't use. Okay? I'm just telling you, this is what I would do if I was you guys that want to get into this line of work. This says professional handbook, price guide. I picked this, like I said, up at a thrift store. I look for them too. If I can get an updated one, I get them. I'm not going to throw this out. I'm not going to get rid of it. I'm not going to get rid of this one, even though it's $207. See, like they got in the front cover here, Pez. Some of them are still worth money if you can get the right ones. Okay, this is the best advice I can give people. Go with this. Get a book. Read these. Get something like this here. You don't have to spend $22. I mean, this one here, she makes a lot, Judith Miller. She makes a lot of these here. This book here, I don't know the prices on here. I'm sure it wasn't that cheap. Okay, here you go. That's what it cost. I didn't pay for this book. Okay, it was given to me. Would I want to spend that kind of money? Just starting off, it all depends. If I have it to spend, I'll buy it. If I don't, I don't. It was given to me. This was given to me. My sister gave this to me. She didn't want it. She gave it to me. And I like it. I refer to this a lot. Sometimes I look at it right before I go to thrift stores. Okay, just to get an idea. Now you might say, well, you're not going to find that pocketbook over here. You never know what you're going to find there. Let me share this other story really quick. Well, I keep saying I'm just going to share. This is a true story too. What I'm telling you. The thrift store I go to over here in Long Island. I'm in New York, of course, the East Coast, but a friend of mine that goes there frequent. He was watching on the Antique Roadshow about a chandelier, and he was telling me the story about it. And he said the chandelier that was at the thrift store was the same exact one that was on Antique Roadshow. And when he told me the story, I said, "Well, how what are you getting at with this story?" He goes, "Well, a lady came here. He goes, I seen it. He goes, I picked it up and I put it down. He goes, I didn't have no interest in it because I didn't know what I was going to do with it." This is after the fact. He noticed. Then later on he regretted it. And in other words, he's seen it first, and then he's watching the Antique Roadshow, and that's when he's seen it. He said, that's the same one I seen at the thrift store. And he probably went back the next day. It was some lady picked up. Anyway, so a lady picks it up, and there must have been an antique appraiser there. Somebody knows about these things. He wanted to buy it there. Right? He offered the money, lock, stock, and barrel, right there and then. I don't know how much he offered. I don't know if my friend overheard the price or not. But all he remembers hearing is the guy telling a woman, "Congratulations, you got yourself a good piece." He was all ready to buy it right out of a shopping cart. And I don't know. I said to my friend, I said, "Do you know how much it was?" He goes, "If I'm not mistaken," he goes, "it was in the thousands." I said, "Wow." I go, "Well, lucky for her." I go, "She got herself she lucked out." So you see, folks, and that's the true story. I'm not just throwing this up there to say, "Oh wow, this guy's trying to coincide with what he's talking with the books." No, I'm not. That's a true story. I mean, I'm not here to make stories up. Okay, I'm here to try to incite and give helpful hints and try to, give inspiration to people, but in a way where it makes more sense than to just sit there. You're going around. Let me pick this up. Let me pick that up. And listen, I've done the same thing. Okay, I've done the same exact thing that everybody else does. We get fooled. We look at our cell phones. Oh, you pick this up. Oh, that looks like it'll sell. Oh, this one here, this guy's selling for $20, $30, $40, $50. You get the same exact thing, and it's sitting there for 6 months. All right? So what I'm saying is invest money in the books. These are your best things right here. You go to college, folks, right? People go to college to learn. I have people say college is all book knowledge, but you know what? That's how you learn. You know, knowledge is power. Information is power. You know, I might know something you don't know. I might be more informative than you. Why? Because I take the time, I do the due diligence to do the research. Now, I'm not saying because I look at these books, I'm more informative than you. But I bet you if we went to if I studied these books up and down, sideways and backwards, and I went to a thrift store with you, I bet you I'd be able to pick more better things out than you would, because I'm more knowledgeable. Not smarter, knowledgeable. That's one thing. I would never put anybody down and say, even if I was top of my class or whatever, I would never say to a person, I'm more smarter than you. Knowledgeable, yes. Smarter, no. Because when you tell a person that I'm smarter than you, you're belittling them. You're insulting their intelligence. You're saying you're nothing. You know, you're not as smart as me. Okay, I'm not a brainiac, but I spend a lot of time doing research. I try to research things to the hilt where it's going to be beneficial. And I'm telling you, folks, right now, at this time of the year, whatever month, sales have been slow for me. And I am not going to lie to you. And I'm not going to throw it out there and say, oh, I'm doing good, this, that thing. I'm not going to throw that out because it's not true. I'd be lying to you and to myself and to my family. So what I'm saying to you guys is take the initiative. You don't have to get these same books, but Judith Miller puts out a lot of these books, if I'm not mistaken. She's probably got an updated one. It's probably expensive like that too. I don't know if you could look this stuff online. I'm probably not. But invest the money. Get one or the other, or get both. You know, I don't know about this one. This one here, like I said, I picked up at the thrift store. Yeah, matter of fact, I saw the listing. It was $2.99. I'm sorry, this was $1.49, but I got it, I think, a half off though. I think it was the day when I had half off on it. That's probably why that number I threw off. So it might have been even cheaper. $3, about $1.50. What did I say? About $4.99. Yeah, this was probably when I got a half day off. Yeah, it still has the price on it, $2.99. So it was a half price off, and what they marked it down to $1.50. So that's why I got the book for. Oh, I said it $1.49, $1.50. Okay, so there you go. But I kept it. I'm going to hold on to it. Now, am I interested in the big pieces of furniture? No, that I can't buy. I don't have the facilities for it. You know, and not only that, I would need a truck. I have a little car. So anything I buy, I got to buy something small that can fit in the trunk of my car. And the other thing I want to share with you guys, that's how I take care of myself, right? Well, I bought this book, and I always like that. I know I put in a racket here, you know, one of these loose leaf protectors here. And this book here at the time, you could probably get these on eBay for a song and a dance. I paid $23. So that was back in the day. I was really into the eBay thing. This is called the Titanium Power Seller Secrets for Building a Big Online Business. And Amy Joyner is the one who, I guess, wrote the book. This is another thing you might want to pick up, read. Power Seller Secrets. I can't give you Power Seller Secrets because I'm not had that many secrets to share with you. I wish I could. It's not that big of a book, as you can see. It's not that thick. How many pages it got in here? Just to give you a heads up, without the index. Well, that's the glossary. Let me see. That's the index. Well, with the index included, it's 248 pages. And that story I told you about I think Glacier Bay, I believe they're in here. So these are some of the companies that are in here: Design Athletic, Deal Tree, Cord Camera, City Discount. That tells you 16 essential steps to launching eBay business. I know it was in here. Rock Bottom Golf, that's another one that had it. They have in here Pugster. Let's see, Stop Auctions, Inventory. So these are the companies that I believe are in there. Hess Fine Art, Grapevine Hill, that's another company. I don't know if they're still in business though. Glacier Bay, it was Glacier Bay DVD. And they talk about it here. This is the one I was talking about, folks. So if you don't believe me, you can see it. It's all in this book here. And that's the story of it, in case you want to read up for yourself. And this guy here, these people here, sold on eBay. Whoops, I'm trying to get it where you can see it there. Okay. Look to sell items in the industry where you have previous experience and solid industry contacts. That's the PowerPoint. You see it right over here, folks? Right here. You know, sometimes you get more out of little things like this than if you would someone to sit there and tell you the whole story. It's like you come right to the point. That's it. And this guy here, company, I don't know if they disclose how much they make in here. They sold, like I said, DVDs. Most people have VCR. They talk a little about it. Let me see here. I'm just trying to see if they had, let's see. Okay, without getting too much detail, it's in his first year of business. Smite, I think it's one of the sellers, the owners, sold $29,000 worth of in the first year, $29,000 worth of hard to find DVDs on eBay. The next year, his sales catapulted to nearly $1 million by 2003. Smite was pulling in nearly that much every quarter. Sales grew steadily through 2003 at a rate of about 5% a month, helping Glacier Bay distinction as eBay's largest seller of DVDs. In 2004, posted revenues of $5 million, making Glacier Bay one of the 30 largest specialty DVD retailers in the nations. Still, that $5 million in sales accounted for just 5% of the DVD market on eBay. It's all here. It's all here in black and white, folks. Okay? It's all here. And that's why I said it's in this eBay book here. And, you know, they talk about certain things. It's pretty, you know, cut and dry, pretty simple. You know, I mean, if you like this type of stuff here, like reading about this here, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's not bad. It's pretty good. And again, back in the day when I bought the book, it cost me $22 and change. But, you know, there are people, and this is why I'm not putting down any sellers. These are people, the eBay millionaires that made money, that made a lot of money. And it's in this book. You could get it off of eBay. I don't know if it's a digital copy or a hard copy. I like hard copy stuff. And here, it tells you right here, a must-read for eBay sellers of all sizes. Okay? If you're curious about eBay's top sellers, A&E Journal is guaranteed to satisfy you with a gift of storytelling. Along the way, you will learn a lot about what it takes to create a successful eBay business and in many paths to success. Ina Steiner, she is the one I think I talked about in the past about, she has e-commerce bites. Well, I think it's still auctionbites.com. I think it's still in there. I don't know if she changed the name. She's another one that's a very big helpful too. She knows very informed about eBay. So you see, folks, if you want to get the straight dope, go to the source. Okay? I'm not saying not to listen to these guys that talk to resellers that talk about their business and how they do it. Look, if they're making that kind of money, I wish them all the best. You know, I would ditto that. I wish I could be like you guys. You might say, well, why don't you listen to them? You know, I do listen to them. I do listen to them. And I do get good pointers from them. But I always hear that, you know, I'm always getting the same impression, not from them, but from other people, other resellers, saying the same thing. You got to know how to source. You got to keep buying and stuff like that. And if you don't have, like I said again, folks, if you don't have the resources for it, how can you source? How can you buy every day? My thing is to you guys that have enough inventory that you say, well, you only got 235 items listed. You know, you should talk about, you know, you make it sound like you're a big-time seller. I'm not a big-time seller. And just because I have that top-rated seller status thing there, that little ribbon, that don't mean nothing. That doesn't make me an authority on eBay. I'm no better than anybody else. Okay? That doesn't mean anything to me. It's just you know, it's there. It's something they give you. eBay gives you because you fulfill the requirements. Anybody can eventually do it, okay? But I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, and I'm not putting anybody down. All I'm saying is, read books, read up on the things you want to do. You still have your day job? Get books like this. Do it on the weekends, okay? Try sourcing on the weekends, okay? This is about eBay. You can get some good pointers from them. But pick up books like this if you could. Go to the thrift stores. You don't have to spend $22. I didn't spend. You say I only spent $1.50 for this here, even though this is $2.99. I got a half price. Spent $1.50 for it. Heavy book, really heavy. You know, hard book. It's a hardcover book. This is soft cover. Okay, you get a book like this. Read up on it. My father was a stickler like that, God rest his soul. He used to always tell me, when you get involved in something that you like to do, if you're an artist, get books on artists. You know how to paint. You know. Like I said, again, if you're a person into computers, get a book on computers. Read about them. Knowledge is power, folks. Knowledge is power. But anyway, I don't want to get into it. I think you guys got the point. You got the message. What I was talking about. I hope this information helped. I'm sorry for rambling on. This is probably going to be a long, long video, and I really am sorry. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm hoping things will pick up for me. Like I said, I only had so far for this whole week. I think I only had not much. I think I said what, 4, whatever, if that. And it was small items. But it is what it is. It's a tough business. Like everybody will tell you, it is a tough business. It's not something you're gonna achieve overnight success, and it is a lot of work. Like a lot of resellers say, it's hard. You got to really, like they say, they use that term. You got to grind it. You got to really work at it and work at it. And the only part the only disagreement I have is with that analogy is that I can't source every day. I can't list 25 items a day, 200 items or whatever it is. I can't do that every day. I'm a one-man band. So when I do things, I have to do it on a small basis. If I can get myself up to a situation like that where I'm making enough money, where I could hire somebody to help me out, and I had the facilities to do it, like if I had like a small little warehouse or a storage facility where I got a bigger storage facility where I could get a lot of things and buy stuff like that and put it in like a little warehouse or whatever, that'd be great. But I don't have that. I don't have those resources. And within 7 to 8 months of doing this full time, it's not going to happen overnight. I can tell you right now. Right now, that's not going to happen. But think about what I'm telling you guys. For newbies coming in, especially for the newbies, think about it. Think about it. Before you get into thinking about quitting your job and stuff. When I heard all these things back in my younger years, when I did stuff like this on and off, I didn't think about it as much. But when you hear people talking about figures, how much they're making and stuff like that, if you really take notice, and I'm just going to leave this with you, it's like a person that goes to the casino, all right? You only hear when they win, but you never hear when they lose. Think about it. How many people have you, unless there are people that came out and said, oh, I went to the casino this weekend, I lost $500, I lost $1,000. For the most part, you never really hear what they lost. You only hear when they win. And that's the same thing with this, folks. You only hear about people that are making money, but what the people losing money? You don't hear people coming on eBay telling you, well, I invested a couple grand in my inventory, and I only sold $200, $300, $500 worth. Just like there was a guy I was listening to on one of these radio shows, not radios, one of YouTube channels, and this guy he's successful. He's a school teacher. He's the one I think I mentioned in one of my videos. The guy quit his job to do this full time. His wife was against it. She said, you're a school teacher, you got a good pension, this and that, we got a family, we got another baby on the way, and he took the plunge, and he said he never looked back. And he doesn't go to thrift stores. He gets his merchandise. I guess I don't know if he deals directly with the manufacturers or not, but well, according to him, he said he ended up doing 1.5 million a year, minus if that's probably gross. So we got to figure what he's coming out. I'm sure he's making a nice, comfortable living with that. Now his wife thinks different about it, but he's pretty well established. I think he's been doing it for a number of years, not like 2 years, 3 years. He's been doing it for a number of years though. These are people they have their foot in the ground. They're sitting in the ground, and. But he mentioned on that YouTube channel they were doing, another guy was interviewing him, brought him on. He said he had a guy there that had, I think, 6,000 listings, and he only sold, I don't know, 5 or 6, whatever, something like that, ridiculous. And he even said, he goes, it's pretty bad, right? Kind of, he's telling the guy it's not really a good start, a good sales day. So, when I hear things like that, because I think to myself, well, because you hear all these guys saying, you got to list, you got to keep listing every day, you got to keep listing every day, you got to keep listing every day. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. That guy had 6,000 items listed, and he only sold so many of them? I think he said only 9 or something like that. Out of 6,000? That's a lot of money to tie up. He must have had a lot of money to play with, this guy. I couldn't tie up. First off, I don't have a place to store 6,000 items. I don't know what they were. It could be comic books for it. I don't remember what the story was, that part. But I don't have the facilities for 6,000 items, nor do I have, let's say each item was $1 a piece. I don't have $6,000 to go out and spend on merchandise, $6,000 worth of merchandise. But what I'm trying to get across is, when I heard that story, This is how my mind thinks, how I interact with things. This guy's saying out of 6,000 items he had, he only sold 9 things. That's pretty sad. I'm quite sure he said 9. It was either something like 6 or 9. That's pretty sad. So when people think, that people say, well, the more you have out there, the more you list, the more money you're going to make. It doesn't always work that way, folks. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I'm not bashing the people that talk about this, folks. Honest. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you stories and, all, fame and glory, so to speak here. It's not like you think. It's pretty rough. It's a pretty rough business. And, when I do go sourcing, which is very little, I don't buy a lot of things. I mean, the other day I bought a couple things at the thrift store, but I picked up a few things. Okay? And if I keep adding to my inventory and nothing's going out, it's just sitting there. So if a person says they got $3, $4, $5, $10,000 worth of inventory, you don't have no $5, $10,000 worth. Well, if that's what it costs to buy it, yeah. But I'm talking for reselling your profit margin. If you're adding a profit onto that, you ain't got that money. It's sitting on eBay. Until it sells, you ain't got no revenue coming in, folks. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to shatter your dreams. And people who watch this may say, "Well, that guy's just a naysayer. He'll shatter your dreams if you listen to a guy like him." I'm not trying to shatter anybody's dreams. First off, I'm still doing this. I'm still in the game. Okay? Or is that saying I'd have a dog in this fight? I'm not out to bash people. I'm not out to deter people from doing it. I'm still in it. I'm going to stay in it. And you want to know what? Even if I did have to revert back to going back to the IT field or whatever, I'm still going to do this. I'll probably do this till the day I can't do it anymore. Because I don't see retirement in my lifetime. And if I was at the age to retire, I would still do this here. Because I'm not going to be one of these type of people sitting around in a rocking chair waiting to go fly the coop, so to speak. I'm going to do this until I can't do it anymore. Until I can't type on my keyboard anymore. So if people think, well, this guy, he sounds like a quitter. I ain't no quitter. I ain't no quitter, people. I'm just telling it like it is. And I'm just expressing myself to other people, to the newbies coming into this here. Think about what you're doing. That's all I'm saying. Don't give up your day job just yet. Do your research. Do you like a statistician or a financial guy, an analyst? They analyze everything before they make the move. Check out the pros and cons. Don't get involved in stores like saying, "Oh, I'm going to go into full force. I'm going to get myself an eBay store." That's not going to do anything for you having an eBay store. Okay, you might save on fees and get free so many free listings and stuff like that. Don't jump into that yet. Don't put the cart before the horse, so to speak. Take your time, analyze, figure it out. See, can I afford to do this? If I did do this full time, do I have enough revenue coming in to keep me going? Do I have enough in savings to keep me going? Do you have a severance package where you laid off from a job? Did you come into inheritance of money where you want to venture into this here? Does somebody in your family do you have a secondary income coming in? That's the one key thing. I would love to hear the stories when people telling me they're doing this full time. I would love to hear one of them say, by the way, my wife works. By the way, my husband works, so that's why I'm able to do this full time. All you hear is people saying, I do this full time. But is this strictly your income stream? I mean, are you strictly living off of eBay? Are you making that much money where you could afford to live? Because if you are, that's great. I wish you all the best. I really do. But I'm not going to sit, like I said again, I am upfront and honest. I am not going to sugarcoat anything, folks. And I'm sure I'm going to probably get a lot of opposition from other sellers or people that bump onto this YouTube channel, listen to this here. They're going to say, this guy here, I don't know where he gets his information from or whatever. I don't really care one way or the other. But I'm putting it out there. And if there is anybody out there that's going to put, malicious comments out there, and say bad things to, talk, put me down or say stupid things, I'm just going to delete your comments. So if you don't even waste your time, you could put it out there, but the minute I see it, it's going right off. Okay, and I check YouTube every day. and I check out the new videos I put out. So if I see stupid comments on there saying stupid things, I'm just going to delete it. So if you're worried, if you think by putting a comment out there that others are going to see it and they're going to respond to it, or feed, and you get like a frenzy feed off it, then they're going to start interacting with you because you wrote something silly or stupid. It's not going to happen because I'm going to take it right off. Okay, so if you're gonna leave any stupid comments, you wanna express yourself. Tell me, well, I think you're wrong. I don't think what you said is right. I don't think you should give advice like that, this and that. Then that's fine. But if you're gonna come out and say stupid things, well, this guy's an idiot. He's an a-hole. He don't know what he's talking about. Blah blah blah. I'm just gonna delete it right out of the comments statement. I'm not gonna leave it in there. Okay, I'm not out to hurt anybody. I'm not out to put anybody down. I'm not making any derogative statements, folks. All I'm saying is I'm just putting it out there for you guys to listen, okay? That's all I'm saying, okay? The best advice I'm giving you guys is read books. If you want advice, read a book like this. If you want to know about collectibles, get yourself books like this. That's all I'm saying, okay? Couldn't give you, this is the best advice I can give you. Okay, I don't know if any other sellers are doing that, telling people stuff like that. Besides telling them what I would buy. Oh, you should buy this. This sells. I'll buy that. That sells. Don't buy that. I'm giving you good advice. Get books. Read up on it. The best advice I can give you. Anyway, folks, comment, share. Tell me what you think about this year. If there's anything you want to talk about, or you want any feedback from me. You can contact me at my email address, whatever. I mean, to me, you want to contact me, it's at rjpc@verizon.net. Again, I'm not, and again, this is to the sellers and the buyers out there, and for people who are interested in this here. I'm putting it out there to share my experience and to give you my opinions on how I feel about the business. And I do love the business. Okay, I would like to make a go out of it. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm just putting it out there and just telling you guys, the facts. Okay, and I'm not, like I said again, I'm an upfront and honest guy, just like I'm an upfront and honest seller. If I put stuff out there, if I'm doing a video presentation about an item, I'm telling you just what it's all about. Plain and simple. It's broken, it's fixed, it don't work, this, that, and the other thing. That's what I'm doing. But anyway, folks, you have a great day. I wish you all the sellers and buyers, I wish you all happy selling. I hope we could all of us, including me, can make nice sales in the upcoming months. And we could all be happy with that, And if you like what I do, if you like this video, if you think you got anything out of it, please subscribe. I'd love to have you a subscriber. And if you got anything out of it, any insightful information that you thought might be helpful, please give it a thumbs up. I'd love to hear it. And if you got any comments, leave the comments. I'd love to hear them. Thanks again, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.